Assistant Foreign Minister, Ambassador Hareedy. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Ambassador Hareedy, how do you see the timing of the Jeddah conference?
Well, I guess it has been the work for many months now that the United States and the Gulf countries have been working on organizing such a summit that was attended upon a kind invitation from the Saudi king, that was attended by Egypt's president and King Abdullah II of Jordan and the Prime Minister of Iraq, Mr. Mustafa al-Hareedy. Of course, when we speak about the Jeddah conference, allow me just to underline that it was one of many summits that took place in the period from July 15th to July 16th in the port city of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
One of these summits was the first Egyptian-American summit ever since President Biden entered the White House in January 2021. President Biden met President Sisi, and after the meeting, there was a very comprehensive joint communique on the talks between the two presidents. And on the other hand, the American president held other summits, bilateral summits, either with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia or with other leaders who attended the Jeddah summit. So all in all, I guess it was a diplomatic win for all the countries that participated in the Jeddah conference, which was entitled, by the way, Security and Development Summit. And of course, the communique that was published, was released yesterday after the Jeddah conference, was very comprehensive indeed, and it covered many areas of cooperation between the United States and the participating countries, as well as a certain vision of the Middle East in the years to come.
Indeed. Sir, President Sisi introduced the five-axis approach on the priority issues to achieve the regional stability at the Jeddah summit, with the Palestinian issue coming first in the list. How is the Palestinian issue impacting the security of the whole region?
Well, as a matter of fact, so far, as long as there is no solution, no political and diplomatic solution to the Palestinian problem, it would be very difficult for us to claim that there is security and stability in the Middle East. And this is the point that was, as you rightly said, madam, that was highlighted by President Sisi yesterday. And it was taken, as a matter of fact, it was taken up by the summit in the final communique, that was released. And so there is a consensus among Arab countries that without carrying out United Nations resolutions of a two-state solution for the Palestinian problem, we can with difficulty speak of security and stability in the area. Putting it in other words, or putting it differently, when the two-state solution would be implemented, there will be more security, more stability, and more economic prosperity in the Middle East.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Ambassador, President Sisi introduced the two-state solution based on the relevant international resolutions. How are concerned parties dealing with such a suggestion?
Well, as I said earlier, madam, the positions expressed by President Sisi were reflected, were incorporated into the communique that the Jeddah communique. Plus that the Egyptian position is shared by other Arab countries, and particularly the countries that participated in the Jeddah conference yesterday. So there is no doubt that there must be a solution to the problems and crises in the Arab world according to the United Nations resolutions.
Yeah. Second, President Sisi affirmed the importance of building societies on the foundations of democracy, citizenship, equality, respect for human rights, re-announcement of extremist ideologies, and upholding the concept of the national interest. How do you read the statement, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, as I said, prior to the Jeddah summit, there were consultations at the highest levels between Egypt on the one hand and the Gulf countries and Jordan and Iraq on the other hand. And I guess I believe that the remarks by President Sisi do reflect a consensus on the part of Arab countries, madam, on human rights, on climate change, on many other issues that of great relevance and significance and importance for the Arab countries in the decades to come.
Yes. Also, the President said it is important for enhancing the country's capabilities to empower both women and youth, support the role of the civil society. What steps need to be taken in this regard, Ambassador? How do you see the importance of such a move?
Well, it has become, madam, women empowerment, creating jobs for the youth. As a matter of fact, is a major concern on the part of many countries, including Egypt and other Arab countries, taking into account the fact that more than half the Egyptian population and the Arab population, and even if we speak about Africa, more than half of the population are young men and women who are under 30 years of age. So we have to give them hope. Their respective governments, including the Egyptian government, should give them hope in the future. And they have a stake in the future, in fact. So I guess, and this was reflected in the talks in Jeddah and in the final communique of the Jeddah summit.
Yes, President Sisi and the Arab National Security said that the Arab national security is indivisible, and the capabilities.
In what? Excuse me.
The President said.
Me?
Yes, President Sisi yesterday said that the national security is indivisible, and that the capabilities of the Arab countries in cooperation with their partners are actually sufficient to provide the appropriate framework in order to face any threat to the Arab world. What's your take on that, Ambassador?
Of course, it goes without saying that Arab national security is indivisible, that Arab countries should work together to fight extremism, to fight terrorism, and to stand in face of common threats, be it threats coming from countries or powers that do threaten the national interests of Arab countries or terrorist groups. So I guess the Jeddah communique has reflected this, madam, and I guess now Arab countries are ready to work together to face common challenges.
Yes. Sir, how do you see the meeting between President Sisi and U.S. President Joe Biden on the sideline of the Jeddah summit?
Well, this is the first summit. This is the first time that President Sisi met President Biden.
Yes.
Since January 2018. We recall that in 2021, there had been 2 phone calls between President Biden and President Sisi. And the summit yesterday between the 2 presidents was an important summit. And hopefully it won't be the last one between the 2 presidents. And of course, there was agreement between the 2 heads of state on the importance of the partnership between the United States and Egypt across the board. On the other hand, the United States, President Biden commended the role that Egypt is playing
Yes.
in security and stability in the Middle East, and has lent his support and the support of the United States for Egypt hosting COP27 next November in Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes. Actually, both sides highlighted the importance of their partnership, both Egypt and the United States. How does that expand the coordination between the two sides, serve both, and how does it impact the Middle East region as well as the African continent?
Well, the relationship between the good relations between the United States and Egypt, of course, are cornerstone in stability and security in the Middle East, North Africa, and Africa.
Yeah.
And the two countries have expressed a willingness and a joint political will to work together in order to further the implementation of Security Council resolutions pertaining to all that. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Hussien Hareedy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Always a pleasure to listen to your precious input, sir. And we move to this very important news where Cairo is to take part in the Petersburg Climate Dialogue in Germany. The conference will discuss a number of issues, including the climate change, around 3 months ahead of Egypt hosting the COP27 Climate Change Conference of the parties in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh next November. More details follow.
During a visit to Germany, El-Sisi will hold talks with German leaders and participate in the Petersburg Climate Dialogue (PCD). In a press conference, German cabinet